Gratitude is a way of thinking. It's teaching your team to think about problems differently and to solve the challenges in their personal and professional life in a different way. And I didn't really know that I was modeling it. I mean, we do gratitude exercises pretty regularly. It's the greatest way to inject positivity and happiness and just good vibes into your culture. So if you're kind of going through a hard time,
Welcome back to another episode of Law Firm Success Story. Now, today we have a guest on who is going to talk about developing a culture of gratitude. Most people don't usually think about developing a culture of gratitude as like a success strategy, but our guest today is going to talk about how that has led to phenomenal success in her firm. So without further ado, let me bring on my guest, attorney Hillary. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Absolutely. Now, I'm excited to talk about, this culture of gratitude that you have in your firm. But for those who may not be familiar with you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your firm?
Yes, I practice family and humanitarian-based immigration law. I have a law firm based out of Phoenix, but we're expanding to locations in California, Vegas, I guess I should say Nevada, that's where Vegas is, and into Texas as well in the next year and a half. I started my firm in 2019, and we do a little over, I don't know, we're doing we're an 8-figure firm. So that's like something that was really exciting to graduate into over the last calendar year. And we have about 135 employees, which includes W-2 employees and international contractors.
Wow, that is quite the impressive journey that you've been on. Now, I will say when I talk to a lot of, people who are growing in a growing firm, gratitude usually isn't like at the core of their strategy. So how did that come up for you and your firm?
Well, I think that there's the reality is I think I needed it a lot in my own life. I needed to really reflect and be appreciative of some of the things that were challenging in my past. And at the time, even in my present, I needed to stop and just really be appreciative. It's like you never know what obstacle is in your way that helps you navigate and go somewhere that you were actually supposed to go to, and kind of having that type of for me, wonder is one of my core values. And I think that really folds nicely into having an attitude of gratitude where it's like, what is the lesson in this? What was I supposed to learn from this? Why am I better equipped today to handle these problems? Because I went through this thing when I was 10, 12, 15 years old, or whatever it may have been. And if you can inject that into your company culture, no, not only does that really align well with me, because if wonder is one of my core values and people aren't grateful for everything that's happening in their life, even if it's kind of crappy at the time, you really start to grate like nails on the chalkboard of wonder. Because if we are really believing in kind of the magic of life and everything that is potentially designed to be in our favor, and you don't have gratitude, then those two things can't really coexist. But I also really needed to have it for my team. When you're walking around as an entrepreneur and all you see are the problems, and you don't really take stock of all the people who are helping you make this whole thing work and bringing your dreams and your vision to life, you're kind of an asshole to be around. And I had to check myself, and it's an ongoing thing. I really have to check myself to make sure that I'm not just seeing the negative, and that even when I am seeing the negative, I can really recenter and say, hey, I love feeling frustrated. Like when I start to feel really, really frustrated, I'm just like, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I don't want to live like this anymore. That's where change happens. That's where innovation lies. Because when everything is going great, you're not going to go in and change and innovate and create something new. So anyway, that's the long answer to your question of like, why gratitude? It's because I think it's really necessary to deal with hard times and to appreciate what we currently have and what we're growing toward.
I love so much about what you're saying, and I'm very curious. Like, as you started to embrace it for yourself, I mean, you're a team of over 100 people. Like, as you bring on new people to the team, like, how does that culture get communicated to new people who join the team? Because they may not have been as fortunate to be in an environment of gratitude before they came to your firm. So, like, how do you really help people get, embedded into that culture?
Gratitude is a way of thinking. It's teaching your team to think about problems differently and to solve the challenges in their personal and professional life in a different way. And I didn't really know that I was modeling it. I mean, we do gratitude exercises pretty regularly. It's the greatest way to inject positivity and happiness and just good vibes into your culture. So if you're kind of going through a hard time, like in April of this past year, we went through a really hard time because I had to let go several legal assistants, and then we had a bunch resign, and it was like back to back to back. And that was hard for our existing team members who stayed behind and had to then shoulder all this work. And we had upset clients and clients who were stressed out because these team members had left. It's like not a good situation. So that's a moment to stop and have gratitude and really just say outside of a one-to-one meeting, say in a group meeting, I am thankful for you, and I'm thankful for you. And I love doing it through like everybody get on Teams, or for us it's Teams. We're those people. We're like the people who have Androids in our room, iPhone chat, but we're on Teams. We used to be on Zoom and like fancy. But everybody, we're going to get on Teams, and we're just going to put some music on, and we're going to say thank you to people who within the team and our clients for the things that they've taught us and the things they've helped us with. And it brings up, like, I will cry pretty much every time I do it, even though I'm like the one who's setting the stage, because saying thank you and getting into that energy it's euphoric, and you can't be grumpy and you can't be negative once you go into that euphoric state. It's like being sleepy after you eat a box of donuts. You feel different. But I realized that this was really part of our culture from modeling it when I had an employee who it was time for him to leave the firm because he had gotten a great job working for he's a Mexican independent contractor. He got a job for the Mexican government being a tour guide in Oaxaca, which is his home state. And it was a job that he was really, really excited about. And as he left the firm, he wrote this long message of gratitude. And this is not something that is done every single time someone leaves or anything like that. But he posted in our gratitude channel this long message. I screenshotted it because I was like, I have been working so hard, and I didn't even know this was what I was working hard for. But I was really proud of myself because a couple of years ago, I had created a culture where that couldn't have existed. I wouldn't have had amazing people like that. And over the years of personal growth and really personally leaning into more gratitude, that becomes an outward thing. And he was saying things like, the lesson that I take away from my 2 or 3 years in this company is I am now appreciative of things that were hard in my life, where before I was unable to really sort out how to relate to those things and understand why they happened. And that is like real team building stuff, because that will be with him for the rest of his life. And I'm very, very thankful that we have a culture that was able to teach him that and offer that.
Wow. I think that's so amazing because I could only imagine that if that much gratitude starts from leadership and it's also in the team, of are there ways that you see that gratitude also allow your firm to have an even better impact for your clients?
Yes, because our team, one of the first things that we start doing when we onboard people is everybody needs to read the 4 agreements. And it's a short book. You may be familiar with it. If you read the 4 agreements, it really helps you realize that so much of what your human experience is like your own lens, and what everyone else's human experience is their perception of you and everything else that's going on around them. And we take a lot less things personally. So when a client calls in and they're upset, you're not going to like jump into that ring with them nearly as much. I think that that's a really important thing. So you take a lot less of what someone is saying personally, and that alone is helpful. And then you can start to see through the words and actually see the problem, which then helps create a solution. You can hear the client, you can empathize with them, but you're like not going to get into it with them. And I think that helps with preventing a culture of having office gossip. That's something that I cannot stand, is cliques and gossip, and like backbiting and that sort of thing. Like, I don't want it. I don't want it in my life. I used to be a backbiter and a gossip, and I'm like, I'm not going back. I cannot do this. And so we can't have it in the company because it's so toxic. And it, again, can't coexist with creating a miraculous experience for our clients where we're helping them go from being undocumented in the United States for 20 or 30 or more years to now 18, 20 months later, they have their immigration papers and they can travel home and see their family again. Like, that's a miraculous experience that's very stressful for people. But if we don't have, a really high self-awareness and just high, what is it called when it's like EQ, I think is what it's called, emotional awareness. You really can't have that kind of experience for people because you get into it with everyone.
Mm-hmm. Well, I absolutely love everything that you're saying, and I'm extremely, honored to have you on the show. And so for people who are interested in just, understanding like more about your firm and really looking you up online, like where's the best place for them to find your firm online?
My husband works in my firm with me, and we have a podcast called Let's Get Rich, and it's a great place to kind of learn more about what we're doing in our company. It's designed for law firm owners who are folks just like me and my husband, who don't really have a business background, don't have any MBAs or anything like that, but just really want to grow and help other people become rich, not necessarily in the wealth sense, but in the whole holistic sense. So folks can come check out Let's Get Rich.
Awesome. I love it. Well, Hillary, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for being an amazing guest.
Thank you. It's been awesome.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Law Firm and Finance Show, where we give you great content that helps you build a more successful law firm. So make sure you hit that subscribe button on all platforms and follow us for more content.